actually means the object hasn't moved, the camera has moved in the opposite relation to that object. So if we see that foreground object is lower, that means the camera is actually higher. If we see that the foreground object is now to the right instead of the left, means that the camera has actually moved to the left and made the object appear to be on the right. So we know for a fact by the change in the height of that as he is filming segment 4 that Roger's still going uphill. Someone who had planned this, someone who's organized it, someone who's calm, is just trying to, shoot a funny film with a guy in a costume, would not have started the camera then. He wouldn't have even put his hand on the trigger until he got to the top. Okay, I'm on the top. There's my guy. Great, I'll just start it again and run. Roger was running up the bank, his hand on the trigger. When he finally saw Patty and realized he had another potential for a good shot, he turned the camera on again, which begins segment 4 right there. But here's another curious thing. If this is all planned, if this is all coordinated, the guy is thinking, he's got a nice, clear, rational mind because there's nothing unexpected happening. He's going to turn on the camera, he'd probably try to make sure he's got a decent shot. Roger's mind at that point was so confused with conflicting ideas that he did something utterly illogical. He turned on the camera out of desperation, but then he also ran forward so frantically that his camera was kind of doing this. And there's only about 3 frames in that segment that are actually even sharp and even have Patty in it. The rest of it is the ground. And he's running like that because one part of his brain is saying you got to get footage of her, but another part of his brain is saying you got to get closer. So he's literally trying to do both, and his mind isn't even processing the fact that those two are totally at odds with each other. You can't run forward real fast and get a good shot. It didn't work. That'll give you an idea of the state of confusion that's going on in his mind. He was so desperate to get the shot, he starts the camera while he's still going up the hill, and then as soon as he starts the camera, he runs in a way that's going to ruin the footage. Okay? Now that's segment 4. Let's do that. We'll move on to segment 5. Segment 5 is probably the most important one. So there he goes, run, 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 and stops here, which is the start of segment 5. Now at this point, Patty's still in the clear. Roger's closer to her than he has ever been in this encounter while the camera's running. And at this point, Roger realizes, okay, this is it. I have got to get perfect footage of this thing. This is my last shot. What he does is what a good cameraman would do. He plants himself securely in the ground, lines up the shot, starts the camera, and he holds it as steady as he can, panning as she walks around. Steady, 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 steady. All through segment 5, which includes the look back. Okay? Now, a lot of people who think this film is a fake, they're skeptical or doubtful of it. They love to say, Roger deliberately shook the camera so that we could not see how lousy the costume was the person was wearing. Well, this segment 5 that happens here, the look back sequence as we call it, proves irrefutably beyond any shadow of a doubt that Roger's intention was the exact opposite. He is closer to her than he's ever been in any part of the filming. He is got a clear shot of her. There's no debris on the ground that's blocking his way. And he is holding the camera as steady as he can to guarantee he's going to get the sharpest, clearest footage possible. Roger is doing everything he possibly can to provide excellent photographic evidence to later analyze what this is. So this argument that, yeah, he was just faking it and he shook the camera so we couldn't see how that costume was, this absolutely, irrefutably proves that silly suspicion wrong. Roger is doing everything he can to get excellent footage and he succeeds. Okay? Now, segment 5 is going to go from where Patty's right about there until he's standing there, he's turning with her, she does her look back right there, goes behind tree 1 in the center group, goes behind tree 2, comes up on tree 3, and at this point, The tree that she's passed behind, you see there's two white trees that are a little closer to it. In Roger's position, those trees are all clustered together in a way that they're almost an impenetrable barrier. And Patty is slipping behind that cluster of the two white trees, and that third one she just went behind. So literally, she's behind the trees now, and Roger can't see her. So he has moved forward about 5 feet, tried to adjust his position a little bit, but she's still behind the trees. He's waiting for her to come out. She's still behind the trees. He's waiting for her to come out. She's still behind the trees because she's walking straight away. She does that for about 10 seconds, actually. Finally, he ends segment 5 because he gives up on that camera position. He has no more confidence he's going to get a good shot. He probably knows he's running out of film, and she's, of course, going off into the wilderness. So he is suddenly going to stop the camera and do segment 5. He's going to run over to the side where he can get around those trees and see her more clearly. And that will become what we call segment 6. It goes about like this. So here it is. She's behind the trees. He can't see her. She's behind the trees. He can't see her. Behind the trees. He can't see her. I give up on this shot. Let's go shoot it from over here. Runs over to there, starts the camera, and this is the end sequence. He's filming here, but he kind of moves around. He doesn't plant himself in one position. He kind of moves to the side, moves forward. She's getting further and further. So some of the frames are good, some of them are shaky. Then she goes around that debris, and that's it. Camera runs out of film. Okay? No more film, she's gone, so that's basically it.